Hi, my name is John Alzheimer, and I'm a credit expert who contributes to creditcardinsider.com. And today's question is this: how safe is it to give my credit card to a waiter? I love this question because I know exactly why you're asking it. There is a pretty nasty little fraud practice called skimming. And skimming occurs when your credit card is swiped through a piece of hardware called a skimmer, and the skimmer actually reads the information off of the magnetic stripe off the back of your card. So it's not terribly dissimilar to when you go to an ATM machine and you stick your card in the reader, if you're at a gas station and you slide your card through the reader, or if you're at a restaurant, you give it to the waiter and he disappears somewhere for a few minutes and actually swipes it through the reader. What a skimmer does is it captures the information, and they've got a hard drive in them, and they're able to store hundreds or even thousands of credit card account information on the skimmer. And when the skimmer becomes full, then the fraudster, or in some cases a waiter, sells the skimmer to a fraud ring, and then the fraud ring, they actually can take the information off the skimmer and recreate new credit cards, and of course go out and use them fraudulently in your name, and hopefully you catch it quickly and shut the card down so it doesn't cause any ongoing problems. So the question is how safe is it to give your credit card to a waiter? Are there bad apples? Yes, absolutely. Are some waiters participating in this process called skimming? Absolutely. How will you know? You won't, because they're not going to stand there right in front of you and skim the card. They're going to take your card, and generally they're going to disappear somewhere, and they're going to come back a couple minutes later with your bill and your credit card, and you're going to sign it, leave a tip, and walk out and think, hey, that was a great dinner, and you move on with your life. And then the reality is that in a couple days, you realize that, oh, there's some fraudulent charges on my credit card, and the reason that those occurred is because your card has been skimmed or the information has otherwise been stolen. So what can you do about it? Well, thankfully, the Fair Credit Billing Act, which is a federal statute, limits your liability on credit card fraud to no more than $50. And on top of that, all four of the major credit card networks, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express, have zero fraud liability policies on top of the Fair Credit Billing Act. So that means that even though someone steals your card or gets it in a data breach and uses it, as long as you eventually notify the bank, you're never going to have to come out of pocket for any of those charges. That's the good news. The bad news is, yes, it's very inconvenient. They're going to close the account, reissue you a new card, which means anything that's auto-debited against a card, like gym memberships, magazine subscriptions, your cell phone bill, your cable bill, yes, that you're going to have to change all that over to the new card because it's going to have a new number because the prior one has already been compromised and the credit card issuer is going to close it. Should I stop going to restaurants? Absolutely not. Should I stop giving my credit card to a waiter? Absolutely not. Well, why not? The reason you shouldn't is because you have no liability. At worst, it's going to cause you some inconvenience, but it's certainly not going to cost you any money. So that's something to keep in mind. This is going to become less of an issue in a couple of years when the United States moves off of this really old magnetic strip technology onto the pin and chip or the chip and pin credit cards that are considerably more secure, that don't actually have a magnetic strip. So there's nothing to skim. There's no magnetic strip with data on it in order for these fraudsters to be able to capture the information. So if you've never been the victim of skimming, then that's actually great, but there are a lot of people who have been. In fact, it's not just at a restaurant, it's not just waiters, it's not just throw them under the bus. There are people who have created skimmers that look very similar to ATM machines, and you'll go and you'll skim your card, you'll swipe your card, and you'll punch some buttons in and nothing happens, and you think, oh, this machine's broken. And really what it is it's a skimmer. And you've just skimmed your own card, and by the way, you've also entered your PIN number, and so they're able to kind of correlate the two together and recreate a card and then go out and use it in your name. So, you're definitely the target of these fraudsters, but thankfully you have that federal law always kind of looking over your shoulders, guaranteeing that you have capped liability, and then the credit card issuers themselves have agreed to not charge you anything for fraudulent use. So that's really the good news as a takeaway in this skimming conversation. If you have any other questions pertaining to credit or other financial topics, please submit them to creditcardinsider.com or in the comments section below. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a great day.